Hey everyone. I wanted to talk a little about the Sigma 1.4 trio and compare them to the Olympus 1.8 premium trio. If you want a very detailed video of the Sigma set, I want to refer you to Rhett Thompson's review of the set. He did a fantastic job reviewing and covering pretty much everything about the set. I really just want to cover my opinions of the two sets of lenses per my experiences, as you know, we all would. I'll show just a few general tests as well. I've had the set of the Olympus 1.8s for well over 17 years now. I've had the 17 mil longer than I've had the EM1 2, and the other two I've had about as long as the EM1. So I really do recommend the set if you're an Olympus shooter. If you're an OM1 shooter, I don't know if I could actually recommend the set. They didn't perform as well on the OM1, which is why all the tests I did with the OM1 were done completely on the OM 12 to 42, 40 Mark II. I no longer have the OM1, so I can't say it's been updated. I can't answer those questions, so I apologize. To start, I primarily shoot video, so I'll be talking about them in that perspective, in the perspective of a video shooter. I shoot a lot of talking heads, so I compared the Sigma versions, doing a talking head, against the equivalent Olympus versions, which is obvious. In my tests, all lenses were shot wide open. It's all shot on OM log at ISO 400, which is the base ISO. I tried my best to keep the frame similar so you can see how each lens looks. The first set that I'm going to show you is the 45 and 56 mil. Between the 45 and 56, the 56 is clearly more compressed, which is obviously going to happen because, you know, it's more telephoto. Both lenses compress the background very nicely though. If you have the distance and if you're going for a more portrait look, you can't go wrong with either. The 56 mil is much more creamier, while the 45 does exhibit a slightly busier out of focus area, but it still looks decent in my opinion. I do have to say though, the autofocus isn't as great with the 45 versus the Olympus 17 and 25. I don't know why. You don't notice it here as much. That's just something that I've experienced, but copy variation can occur. I do have to admit though, I don't really use autofocus, not very much anyway. Maybe about 70% of the time I do a quick push to focus, which is where I would just push the focus and then put it back in manual. I also want to add that the Sigma 56 was way better than I thought in autofocus. Well, not way better, but the 16 and 30 randomly did lose focus for a little bit, and the 56, the 30 and the 16 did lose focus randomly, but the 56 was surprisingly stickier than I thought it should have been, or that it would be. I've lost focus about as much as I've lost focus with the 45 mil. Between these two, I didn't keep either. I've probably used the 45 mil a total of 10 to 15 times in the last 7 years, so it's just not something that I gravitate towards. If I wanted to shoot portraits, I have a 40 to 150 Pro. If you are a portrait shooter, and want a prime and faster lens, you'll probably want the 56 mil over the 45. It's just easier. It's easier to work with versus the Olympus 75 mil, and is enough of a difference compared to the 45 that you'll probably just enjoy it more. The next is the 25 and 30. I didn't realize how much I was going to really like the 30. The 25 was always my go-to for talking heads. I just had full confidence in it, and when you have such confidence in something, it's hard to move on from it, especially when it comes to paid jobs. I just always really liked the look of it gave me, but after this test, I moved away from the 25. I ended up liking the 30 so much that I sold the 25. Now the autofocus is definitely not better than the 25. The 30 loses focus fairly frequently actually. But again, I primarily manually focus everything, unless I'm recording myself, obviously, which in those cases, I don't even use these lenses. So the last of the group is the 17 and 16. These two lenses, outside of the contrast of the 17 and the very slight speed advantage of the 16, they look close enough that I'd recommend either or. If you want a smaller lens that's made of metal and has a very unique and useful feature, grab the 17. If you want something slightly faster, slightly wider, and you don't mind the size, grab the 16. It's really that simple. The next test I did was a manual focus test. This is a bit more important to me because I do manually focus a lot. I don't rack focus very often, which if I'm shooting a narrative, my primary go-to lens is the SLR Magic Micro Prime, and now the Olympus 17 Pro, which is purchased it a couple months ago, and that's what I'm shooting this on. What I primarily do is lock the focus, so this is more or less just for this video. And you can see how the autofocus area looks for each lens. I don't move the camera at all here, just so you can see how the field of view looks for each lens. The Sigmas are the most unpleasant lenses to use to manually rack focus. They jump erratically when you're focusing, when you're racking. You could say this is typical to expect for focus by wire lenses, but damn, they fail way worse than the Olympus Trio. You can even tell on my face in this how confused and irritated I was. I'm also not a fan of how cheap feeling the focus is on the Sigmas, but they are generally pretty cheap, so that's really just nitpicking. Now, I will say of the Sigmas, the 30 was the nicest to work with, 16 was the worst, and 56 was fine. I didn't really think this until I actually started using the lenses more and more. Now, the Olympus Trio is great and smooth, with a fair amount of resistance, even for being focused by wire. The 17 and 25 weren't so jittery. I don't share that opinion with the 45. The 17 was an added bonus for having the manual focus clutch, which, by the way, is the MFT lens that introduced this feature. I know a lot of people get these lenses because of autofocus, so I did just a basic autofocus test for anyone that needs them. The actual test will be at the end, and I left the audio on so you can hear what I have to say during those entire tests. It was done months ago, around August. It's so long, so I'll just give you my closing thoughts. The Sigma set is very appealing because they offer nearly the same performance as the Olympus Pro, albeit without the key features that make the Olympus Pro lenses so appealing. I will say, if you are purchasing the Olympus Pro lenses used, you can typically find them for $600 or $700 now. The lens I'm shooting with now is the 17mm Pro, and I bought this for $600 shipped. So if you're buying them new, I would say go with the Sigmas. But if you're buying used, the price gap is so much smaller now that I think it's worth the couple $100 that you're saving, especially if you're getting weather sealing on any of the Pro lenses. If you're getting that manual focus clutch, which is probably the most appealing thing, and it's just a little bit faster. But also, it's a metal build. I'm not a fan of the Sigma's plasticky build. The focus on all of these lenses, they feel so rough. They feel raggedy. Like it's like the gears are crunching against each other. But it could just be my copy. So I don't know. Regardless of those, the problem with these lenses are very minor. Again, the used prices for the Sigmas are so good, it's hard not to recommend them. If, however, size is of absolute importance, you'll want the Olympus Trio. They really are such a fantastic group to attach to your body, minus the 45mm. I'm kidding. I know a lot of people really love that lens, and it's so tiny, it takes up nothing in your bag. I remember literally keeping all three lenses in my pocket at one point during a hike. That was probably the main appeal to them. I think I no longer care having something that small. I find myself with a bag so often that something a little bit larger isn't going to hurt me, especially if it's a paid job. They're all great lenses, and I'm sure you'll get what you want out of them, depending on what you, the individual shooter, is looking for. Of the set of all those lenses, I've sold all of them except for the 17 and 30. The 17 I keep on my EP3, and I basically relegated this as a daily carry and just treat it like a point and shoot. I now have the 17mm Pro as my main workhorse, and I have the 17 Micro Prime for my narrative jobs. I've kept the 30mm because I just really like the lens. It's turning into my primary talking heads lens. A couple honorable mentions is the Zongi Speedmaster, which is fun, and it's definitely job or look specific, and the TT Artisans 2314. This is actually one of my favorite lenses of all time. It's cheap and it gives off Canon FD vibes. Okay, so the last 10 minutes is the actual autofocus test if you would like to watch it. Otherwise, I hope this helps you, and have a wonderful day. Okay, so this is, oh, just so um, I mentioned, all the settings are exactly the same. ISO 400, lens is wide open, so it'll either be 1.4 on the Sigmas or 1.8 on the Olympus, but color white balance is all 5600 and it's all OM log. Decided to keep shooting everything in OM log, mostly because most people are probably going to shoot it in OM log, and to really stress out the lenses, because when you shoot in one of the natural modes, the camera has a way easier time to autofocus. So keep that in mind if you're shooting any of these lenses. I might shoot one of the lenses just in a different color profile just to show, but I stopped shooting in a lot of the color profiles because a lot of my jobs have been asking for a log. So, all right, so this is the Olympus 17mm. All right, and again, I can't really see this monitor from here. This is a good at least 20 feet. I'm not a good judge of distances. All right, I'm passing this wall, and then I'm walking forward, and then here we go. Good close up. All right, moving on. This is the Sigma 16mm. Obviously, I cannot see the monitor on this because it's too far. I'm gonna cross this little thing. Yeah, still can't see it. I'm a good, I don't know how many feet I was back there, but it's at least 10. I just couldn't see the screen, so hopefully that did okay. Okay. I'm trying to squeeze as much of this lens test as possible. I'm in the middle of work right now. It's actually my most commonly used video lens, shooting lens on the Olympus EM1, primarily because this is the newest of the 1.8s, and I don't know if it has something to do with the age, but this one responds better in video. It loses focus way less than the others, than the 45mm and the 17mm. Although the 17mm is still pretty good. 45mm does not do as well. I think this 45mm is the oldest of the three, so I'm gonna use this as it might show you here, or it might not. I'm not sure. Sometimes it's unpredictable. Sometimes it does really well. So anyway, this is the 25mm 1.8. Oop. Thought I was looking for the lens cap. I have to play with something in my hand. Otherwise I get lost. And again, I can't really see the monitor from here. I don't know if I'm in the middle. So I'm gonna walk forward. I'm gonna pass this little pillar thingy. I don't know if you can even see that. Might be able to see that. And then close up, and then I'll do an extreme close up. Okay. Hope that did okay. See, it's smoother when it finds me too. I just like the way this lens acts and looks. All right, next one. Okay, this one is the Sigma 30 mil, and this one I really, really wanted to like. This one I thought I was going to be an awesome, like, Micro Four Thirds version of like the Zeiss 55 millimeter. And then it's to me, it's not to me. Nothing to do with the bokeh or the background or the overall image quality performance, but it it's not it loses focus if you're in autofocus. It's has some back focusing issues sometimes, and well, the Sigmas are too smooth when you turn the ring, and I'm not a fan of that. I want a little bit of resistance. But yeah, this is the Sigma. It looks like I'm gonna fix this just so it shows me standing straight. Okay, okay, so there we go. All right, I'm gonna do this test now, just walking back and forth. I never actually shot this with this lens indoors, so maybe it actually performed better indoors. And here's a quick close up. Oh, it looks like it's doing okay right now from that short little thing I just did. But we'll see. That's kind of like the easiest thing for lenses to do. So anyway, next one. Now this is the Olympus 45 millimeter. Of the three Olympus 1.8s, okay, I've got to move it up. Okay, as I was saying, out of the three Olympus 1.8s, this is the best looking portrait photo lens, but it's the worst video lens. Oh no, I just don't find it as usable. I prefer the wider angle lenses for the video work. 35 millimeter and 50 millimeter is kind of my main two field of views. Nothing against something that's a little more portrait. It looks great, compresses the background really nicely. I don't really care about compressing the background really nicely. A lot of the places I work, jobs that I do, you, they they kind of like seeing the background a little bit more, which is kind of the advantage of using one Micro Four Thirds. But anyway, I'm gonna walk backwards now. All right, I don't know. You're probably not going to be able to see this pillar cross anymore. I kind of just kept the tripod exactly where it is. I don't have a lot of time to like move things around. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do an additional little walk because it's so tight. And then instead of crossing the beam, I'll just kind of hover backwards or just off to the extreme side. And then get back in. And then I'll do one extreme close-up. There we go. All right. Okay, I'm gonna put in the next lens. Yeah, all right. Can you, whoa, see, it actually focuses so close. It's really cool. It's not really macro, but it's, you know, pretty cool. Let's see if I can get closer. No, no, I think that's it. Oh, it's like it wants to. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the 56 mil Sigma, and I don't have I have zero interest in this lens. I'm not a portrait photographer. If you're a portrait photographer, this is probably the best lens you could ever buy, honestly. It'll be between this and, either the Panasonic or the Olympus 42.5 and 45 millimeter. If you're an Olympus user, get the 45. If you're a Panasonic user, get the 42.4. If you like having an extremely compressed background and a really fast lens like this, it'd be pretty cool. You know what? 56 millimeter, that's like 112 equivalent. I'm not math good. Oh yeah, 112 millimeters. So this is a really good portrait lens. It could also be a really short sports lens. I haven't really tried out how fast it can go, but maybe I'll try that later on. All right, I'm going to try this going backwards, okay? Now, this is the lens I used the least, just because I had zero interest in it. But when I bought the Sigmas, I actually bought them all three at the same time. So, I kind of just had no choice but to get it. It was too good of a deal, and I thought I would play with it a little bit more, but I don't know. I just don't like it. Not a fan. It's too tight. Sure looks cool if you're a portrait photographer, though. Especially if you're around. God, you got to go really far, though, if you're trying to do a full body shot. Otherwise, this is pretty cool, I think. I'm so far away from the dang camera, I can't even see myself. I'm just assuming it looks cool because it's so blurry, whatever's back here. I can't see this at all. Like it's just a cloud or something. That's all. That's all.